Hello boys and girls, welcome to BenchART. I'm for Classic, and let me welcome you to Tales of Arise, a game developed by Bandai Namco, and it is using Unreal Engine 4. And the question today is how good this game runs on an Nvidia MX130 or a GT 940 MX. So let me show you the settings of the game. So I'm just going to play the game at 720p, using menu texture quality to high, enable bloom and glow, using TAA as anti-aliasing. And as you can see, I have shadows on both, screen space reflections disabled, anisotropic filtering. Curiously in this game it's quite demanding, not sure why, on low, and all the rest of the stuff enabled aside from screen space shadows. So which means that we have post-effect stuff that makes the game more prettier. And it is also not as demanding as I was expecting. So that setting, I decided to call it custom median, and by using that setting I was averaging about 43 frames per second and 33 frames per second as minimum, which provides an experience above 30. So if you go with maximum settings though, your experience will be lower than 30 frames per second, and though I can't really recommend. And if you go with the minimum settings, which actually does still look good, but not as close as my custom settings, you get an average of 52 and a 1% low of 41. So looking to the requirements, this game asks for an i5 from the 2000 generation, 8 gigs of RAM, and GTX 760, and for 45 gigabytes of disk space. So this is a little bit early into the game, which means that I'm not really sure what's the performance you can get in different biomes. So a biome with tons of grass and being more sunny environment and stuff like that, I don't really know if the game will perform in the same way. But looking to the results that I had with the low settings, I would say that if it is necessary to go to low in different biomes, I would say that the GPU will handle it. All right, because we got really a nice overhead in there that you can spend, because the minimums on low it was 41. So even if you find more demanding moments or more demanding scenarios, I would say that the low settings will manage anyway. But for now, and as far as I tried in this biome during night and day, my experience was above 30 and it was super playable. Alright, and for now, that's the setting that I do recommend. I decided to not go to different biomes because I didn't really at the time. This is an RPG, a GRPG in fact, and these might take a lot of hours to change scenario, and I don't have that time. But for now, and again, with what I've tried so far, with attacks, cutscenes, and all the stuff going on, the game manages to be above 30 frames per second with these custom settings. Alright, now let's talk a little bit about the game. Well, since I didn't spend too much time with the game, I can't really say how good or bad the game is, but there are some things that I will quote from reviewers, and some I don't really need to do it because it's very apparent. And let's start with the graphics. Graphics, it is clearly the biggest difference comparing to the predecessors, because they ditched their in-house engine and they are now using Unreal Engine 4. And they could still use more or less the visuals of the classic games, but no, they decide to take fully advantage of the engine. And I'm not saying that they are pushing boundaries in here, far from it, but they are making a very good use of the engine, very good aesthetic, and it is running great. Alright, that's one of the things that you should know about it. Now, the second thing is, well, the combat. The combat feels a little bit more loose. It seems to have more freedom into it. And because of that same reason, it feels more satisfied to play. There is now a new type of attack, which I don't know the name, but for example on Persona 4 it is called an all-out attack, which is where when you and your allies attack an enemy together, there is a kind of a special cutscene that appears with you and your allies attacking together and causing massive damage to the opponent. Well, there's that. And for the rest, as far as I did understand with the reviewers, it is more of the same of Tales, which is not necessarily a bad thing, honestly, but it is great. One of the things where the game didn't evolve though, it is really in the ways that the map are performed or done. Some people were expecting that this game to be fully open world, and it's not really the case. It is divided in small bunches, just like it happens in all traditional JRPGs, and Tales of Arise maintains that type of map. So basically, you are on this part of the map, and to traverse to other part, you need to pass through a kind of a loading screen. You have the mini-map on the corner, just all the traditional JRPGs have, and you can see even enemies when you are close to them on the map, and you can see them following them. So it's like the traditional JRPGs, nothing different on that regard, but still, whatever traditional, not evolved or not, the game, it is being very well reviewed for what it is. Tales were not really necessarily a bad game, but they weren't really captivated to some audience. All right, and now with this new engine, with this marketing that they have done, and the way that they refine the combat to be more mainstream for today's audience, it feels like it's working out, because it is the best-selling game actually on Steam at the moment, which is really great. I mean, best JRPG. All right, launched on Steam at the moment. It really sold a lot at the early minutes, hours, or days, I don't know. But it was considered the best-selling JRPG on Steam. And the reviews have been great with the game. They have been... Metacritic have been having a score of 85 to 90 on the PC version. Steam reviews have been at 93% last time I checked. Users seems to be very satisfied. Some reviews are giving it 8.5. That is the review of GameSpot, which I don't recommend you to check it out, since it have been massively downvoted. I didn't watch the review because after the comments I did understood that users are massively unsatisfied with the review because the reviewer didn't know how to play the game. Please don't do that. Don't put people that don't actually know how to play games reviewing games. I'm no good with JRPG, so I would never review a JRPG, and I'm doing so basically in quotes of reviewers that know what they are doing. And that's it, guys. That's Tales of Arise for you. If you want a better review, please check other channels. I just wanted to give a quick highlight of what you can expect. Alright, so there's that. Guys, thank you a lot for watching, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
Let me know if you're struggling.
Left.
Okay, people, this is it. Ulzebek.
No sign of any Renin guardsmen.
The Renins aren't as populous as the Danins. Probably figure stationing guards in a place like this would be a waste of precious manpower.
So this is where the next safe house is?
Yes. The last place they'd think to look for enemies is on their own doorstep.
That is, assuming anyone actually made it here before us.
Zephyr! Looks like we needn't have worried. Come on,